Hello and welcome to RingEX User Essentials Training. My name is James Vykoff and I'll be your Senior Training Specialist for today's session. Before we get started, I do want to point out a few meeting controls. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the mute option. Please feel free to unmute and ask questions. We'll also open it up at the end for a Q&A. You can also chat your questions over. You'll see the option to chat with everyone or privately. I ask that you please chat your questions over to everyone so that everyone can see your great questions. Can I get you all to send me a quick hello in the chat just to let me know you found that? Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. Now, today's session is an introduction to get you familiar with RingCentral and our services. We do plan on covering a good amount of information today in a short period of time. So I do want to thank all of you in advance for hanging in here with me. Today's session is being recorded, and you'll also see that I shared several links in the chat. Please do take a moment to copy those again before you leave. Today, we are going to be talking about calling using the RingCentral for Microsoft Teams integration, where you can place and receive internal and external calls. You'll have quick access to things like voicemail, call history, and more. We'll also talk about another available option to you, which is the RingCentral desktop and mobile app. We'll then cover utilizing the Yealink T46U physical desktop phone. Finally, talking about managing your extension settings within your Microsoft Teams and your desktop app. We'll cover things like managing your voicemail, setting up your call forwarding and handling options, and then we'll talk about support resources and open it up for that Q&A. So to start with, we're going to dive right into the RingCentral for Microsoft Teams integration. Now, upon opening up Teams, you will see a RingCentral logo in your menu. If you do not see that RingCentral logo in your menu, simply click on More. You can then download it or install it. It's a quick download, and then you can pin it to your main menu. You will be required to log into the RingCentral integration your first time logging in, and then it will appear each time. You'll be using your sign-in credentials unless you're using single sign-on. Whenever you click on the RingCentral logo, you'll have access to, of course, your call history, voicemail, and more. If you're using the Teams mobile application, you'll also be able to utilize RingCentral there. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring up Teams. Now, whenever I open up and click on the RingCentral application, you'll see your dial pad. Under your dial pad, you'll be able to enter in your name or number of the person you would like to call. You do not have to dial a 1 or a 9 to place an outbound call if you had to do that before. You can just dial the direct dial number or extension, or you can type in the person's name. When you type in the person's name, it's going to pull up any contacts or colleagues that match that name. You can go ahead and click on the number you want to call. It's going to pull up your active call controls. Here you'll be able to see the duration of the call that you're on, who you're talking to. You'll also have access to some familiar items like mute, your dial pad, so perhaps I called and it's a touch tone and you need to press 1 for this or 9 for that. You'll be able to manage your audio options like your microphone or speaker source. You can also conference in additional callers. With the RingCentral applications, you can place and receive up to 9 concurrent calls. You can view and manage those active calls here as well. So if I want to conference in, let's say, my good friend Santiago, I can click on the plus symbol here, type in Santiago. I can, of course, type in a name, number, or extension, give him a ring. Once he answers, I will have several options. I will be able to swap between my callers, merge this to create that conference call, or I can click on the call list to view and manage all of my active calls. You'll see here that I have Rose on hold and my active call with Santiago. So if I wanted to merge this, I could do that here. Santiago just shared with me that he does not want to conference with Rose and I, so I'm going to end that call. And I'm going to come back and take Rose off of hold. You'll also be able to transfer your callers. So if I click on transfer, I can type in the name of the person I would like to transfer Rose to. Once I select them, I'll have three options. I can do an ask first, which is a warm consultative transfer. So for example, hey Cliff, I have Rose calling and she wants to talk to you about A, B, C, or D. You can also do a blind transfer and send it straight over to Cliff and no longer be involved, or you can send it to Cliff's voicemail. You'll also see Call Park. Now, Call Park gives you the ability to place your caller in a public parking lot. So when you click Park, it'll display an extension for your caller in that public parking lot. Once you click Park, you can message that extension to anyone, yell it across the office, communicate it to whoever you want, however you want, letting them know that you just parked Rose on, let's say, extension star 805. If no one picks up that park call within 5 minutes, it will ring back to whoever originally parked it. I'm going to go ahead and end this call. And conveniently enough, I'm about to receive an incoming call. Once that incoming call arrives, in addition to seeing who is calling, of course, I'll have the option to send it to voicemail, or I can answer it. I'm going to go ahead and answer that call. And here you'll see I have access to all of those same great active call control. I'm going to go ahead and end this call and open it up to see if anyone has any questions about placing and receiving calls or active call controls. Any questions? All righty then.
James, the flip button on the call control was to change to another device?
Yep, I can cover that as well. Let me go ahead and open up Rose. So you'll see call flip as an option if available. Once you click on flip, if you have a desk phone, it will appear here, or if you have other phone numbers in your calling patterns, like if you add them, and we'll talk about settings in a moment, any number you have set within your system, it will appear here. Now, flip gives you the ability to place your caller on hold. When you click flip, your caller will be placed on hold after you select the device. That new device will ring, and when you pick it up, your caller will be there waiting for you. They will not see the device nor the number that you put them to, as far as they know they were placed on hold for a moment. Great question.
And
Now,
just to let the people, I got something, just to let the people know on this call that the app for Teams is not currently working in our instance. We're working on getting some back-end administrative tasks done for that. So, this is great information, and it will be working at some point in the very near future. But at this time, if you try to log in and use this app with Teams, it won't work.
Right now, do they have access to the desktop app primarily, or do they have access to anything yet?
Correct, yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, also, you'll see your call history.
What the fuck?
Yes, was there a question?
Yeah, I don't think actually anyone has access right now.
Okay, gotcha. So once they get access, you all can get in here and play around and utilize all these great features and functions. And you'll also have this recording to reference as well as the additional resources. Perfect. Thank you for that. Now, next to the dial pad, you'll see the calls tab. Now, on the calls tab, you'll be able to see your call history. You'll be able to search through your call history. You'll be able to filter by all missed outgoing or incoming. You can hover over and give that person a call back, as well as display additional options like adding them as a contact if they're not already, or blocking them, never to hear from them again. You'll also have access to your voicemail tab. Now, on the voicemail tab, you'll have access to, of course, your voicemails by playing them here. Clicking on the phone tab, and you'll be able to call them back, as well as download that voicemail. If you click on the actual voicemail, you'll open up more details in the center where you'll be able to, of course, call them, play that voicemail, read a text transcript of that voicemail if available. You'll also be able to click on the more icon to display those additional options like downloading that voicemail. Now, when you receive a new voicemail, you'll also get an email notification. And in that email notification, it will include this text transcript. Now, also within Teams, you'll have the option to have access to texting and faxing. You'll also have access to all of these features and options in the RingCentral desktop application. I'm going to run through them here in the Teams application, and then I will show them to you briefly in the desktop and mobile app. Now, the phone tab, again, has your dial pad, your call history, and voicemails. The texting tab, when enabled, you will be able to send and receive text messages. These text messages will come from your direct dial number. So when you send or receive text, they'll appear here. You can click into a text to read that text, attach a file, share an emoji. You can also see up in the top right-hand corner, you can convert this to a phone call. To send a new text, you simply click on the little talk bubble with the plus symbol, new text. Type in the name or number of the person you would like to text internally or externally, and click next. And then you will be in that message and you can type in your message. Next to texting, you'll see faxing. On the faxing tab, you'll be able to view and receive any sent and receive faxes. So you can now send and receive faxes to and from your direct dial number. Now, this does not replace any company faxes you may have. This simply gives you the ability to send and receive faxes to and from your direct dial number. To send a new fax, you can click on the Send New Fax. Select a cover page, preview them here. You can also attach your own cover page if you do not want to use any of our templates. You can attach a file, click on the paperclip icon, or drop your files here. The maximum file size you can attach is 50 megabytes. It can be a Word, PDF, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. You can click Send Later, select the date and time, or you can send it now. Any questions about faxing or texting? All righty then.
Yeah, I've got a quick question about the faxing.
Yeah, absolutely.
In regards to, we have a student health clinic, and if they have the faxing capabilities, is that going to be covered under our business associates agreement for HIPAA?
Do I have an administrator on the line that would be able to answer that question for Charles? As far as your internal policies, I know that our faxing capabilities are HIPAA compliant, but it depends upon your personal organizational policies that you would want to follow.
Gotcha.
I think
Okay.
that's Charles's question, was if it's capable.
Yes, it is. Our faxes are HIPAA compliant. So if your organization doesn't have anything saying, no, you cannot fax using this, then you can, it's definitely compliant.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Contacts tab. Now, in the Contacts tab, you can view all of your contacts. You can also create quick contacts. You'll be able to also view those quick contacts on your dial pad tab. Those quick contacts will appear here to the right of your dial pad. You can rearrange the order of your quick contacts. You can also add quick contacts here by clicking on the Head and Shoulders icon. Hover over those quick contacts to call them. You'll also be able to view their status and availability if they are internal contacts. Also on the Contacts tab, you can rearrange and manage that status here. You can click into any contact to view their contact card, as well as shortcuts to call them. You can search through your contacts. You can filter by company contacts, people within your organization, or personal contacts. You can also add a personal contact by clicking on New Actions, create new contact, expand for additional fields. Next to contacts, you'll see your HUD or heads up display. Now the HUD is only for internal colleagues. You decide who is listed here by clicking on the head and shoulders icon in the top right-hand corner, typing in the name of the person or persons you would like to add. You can have up to 100 internal colleagues here. You decide who is listed here, and you can rearrange their order as well. You can see everyone looks like they're available today. If they were on Do Not Disturb, etc., you would be able to see all that information. Do you have a question here in the chat? Are the contacts stored in 365 or only in RingCentral? So, if you create a contact within the RingCentral application, they are stored within RingCentral. On the Contacts tab, under All Contacts, you will be able to see all of your contacts that are within RingCentral, and those are going to be housed in RingCentral as well. These are your colleagues that have set up their extension and are available. Any personal contacts or integrations with Teams, you'll see an icon next to those contacts that'll show if it's a Teams contact, if it's RingCentral, or if it's personal. For example, if I scroll down to Clark Kent, you can see a different icon next to him, so you can differentiate the difference between the two. So these contacts are not synced with Outlook or 365 or any of that. You can sync your contacts from 365 over to RingCentral, but they're not going to, your colleagues are not going to show up there. Any other questions about your HUD, contacts, or anything else I've talked about so far? Oh, Charles, another question from you. Can you disable the force contacts to be in 365? I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you tell me more what you mean by force contacts?
So is there a way to disable where they can create a RingCentral only type of contact and force it to go to create a Teams contact or an Outlook contact?
So I would have to double check to see if that's something that can be disabled on our end. It's not something I believe you all can disable. And as far as it, when you create a new contact, you have an option here. Let me open that up, and you can click on the drop down, and RingCentral is the only one that it is allowing me to do. If your integration is set up, you may see additional options here. But as far as creating a contact, it's automatically going to create them as a RingCentral contact. Your administrators, or if you are an administrator, you can reach out to your project or implementation manager, and they may be able to adjust any specific account items like that for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
So if a person has to individually set up their own contact in RingCentral, so if we go live with everybody as far as across the university, so every person will get an email saying they have to set up their account, or will there be some type of like default setup where they're already in there and synced, like what Charles see with 365 as their default contacts?
So when your account is set up within Teams, it should pull over your contacts from Microsoft Teams, etc. They all should show up here. You'll see the different icon next to it, whether it's a RingCentral contact or if it is Teams. You'll see the Teams logo next to it, which is 365, because most oftentimes your Teams integration includes your 365 or all connected with your contacts. So you'll be able to see, and that is automatic.
Okay. So
when
like,
you log in, you're ready to place and receive calls, and all your contacts should show up under the Contacts tab.
Okay. But they have to individually add RingCentral as a app in Teams?
Yes, once RingCentral is added to your Teams application, you should just be able to click on RingCentral. But if you do not see RingCentral here, just click on the More tab, and you can search for RingCentral, and you can download it and then pin it to your main menu, unless it's already downloaded for you, and then at which time you can just click on more if you don't see it and pin it, because you can pin any app to your main menu. And then once you click on RingCentral, you'll be asked to log in. If you're using single sign-on, you'll use single sign-on, and then you'll be logged in every time you open up Teams.
Okay. Okay.
So it's all going to be done for you. Once you come in here and open it up, it's going to be ready to go.
Okay.
There's
All
not
right,
a lot.
thank you.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a lot for you to do. Once you open it up, it's plug and play. So it should be very easy for you to get in here and operate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now you can also access your settings by clicking on the gear icon in the top right-hand corner. When you click on the gear icon, you'll have access to your call rules and voicemail settings, where you can access your call handling and forwarding options. You'll also be able to click on settings and it'll take you directly into settings. And if you click on the phone tab, you'll have access to your call rules and voicemail settings, hold music. If you scroll down further, you'll have direct access to your voicemail greeting, where on day one, everyone will have a text-to-speech voicemail greeting with their name. And we'll talk more about settings in a moment. Now, I do want to come and talk about the desktop application from RingCentral. Now, with the RingCentral desktop application, it's going to work the same as your integration with Teams. You have the integration with Teams because if you're in Teams every day, it's just easier to have it there. But you can use whichever application you would like, including if you just want to use your desk phone. They're all going to work together. Now, with your desktop application from RingCentral, you can also place and receive internal and external calls and have quick access to texting and faxing in your phone tab. You can also place and receive multiple calls and manage those calls. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the RingCentral application. Give me 1 second here, and here it opens. Now, whenever I open the RingCentral application, you'll see your phone tab here. Now, on the phone tab, you'll have access, of course, to your dial pad, your call history, voicemail, HUD, etc. It's going to look the exact same, just laid out a little bit differently. You'll have all the exact same information. If you place a call, it's going to pop up, and I'm going to call Rose. You'll see you have access to all of those same great active call controls. You'll have access to faxing, texting, and contacts. Now, within the RingCentral desktop application, you will see the option here to connect your Microsoft Exchange or Google Contacts. It's not going to do it automatically because this is not integrated with Teams yet. This is not the application within Teams. So if you want to connect your Microsoft Exchange, Google Contacts, etc., with RingCentral's desktop application or mobile app, you can click here to set that up. At which time, under Contacts, you'll be able to view all of your contacts. Here also, you'll see faxing, or you can send a fax, texting, where you can send a text. Now, if I go to Contacts, any adjustments you make on your quick contacts, anything you do here, anything you do in Teams, anything you do in the mobile app will be mirrored on all three applications. We have all of those available applications to you so that you can decide which one you want to use and which one works best for you. Now, I do have 5 quick tips to getting started with the desktop and integration with Teams. There's no one better to practice with once you get access than a colleague. So once you get access to RingCentral, go in there and practice calling with each other, maybe transferring. Any questions about the desktop application before we move over to the mobile app? Now, the RingCentral mobile application can be downloaded from the Android or Apple Store, unless it's automatically pushed to your device, at which time you'll just click on the RingCentral logo. When you open up the mobile application, it'll be very similar to the desktop app, except your menu will be at the bottom. You'll have access to your call history, voicemails, all of those options. You'll clearly be able to identify the difference between a call coming in on your cell phone from, let's say, your grandmother versus a call coming in from your personal cell phone or your work number. It will clearly identify itself. You do not have to have the mobile app open on your phone for a call to ring through to you. As long as you're logged into the mobile app, it will ring through whether the app is opened or closed. Now you'll have access to all of those same great options that you have on your integrations for your Teams, for your RingCentral desktop app. You'll have transfer, you'll have call park, flip, all of those options. You'll also have switch call. Now, switch call is one of my favorite features. Switch call gives you the ability to take your active call directly from one application to the other. So let's say I'm working away on my RingCentral desktop application and all of a sudden I have to go water my plants. You can simply open up the mobile application and you'll see this bar appear that says switch call to this device. Once you click on that bar, it'll take that active call directly from your desktop app to your mobile app. And the same is true in reverse. You'll have access to your settings in the mobile app as well. Now remember, any settings you adjust in your application will be mirrored in all of your applications. You'll be able to adjust your status and availability. You'll be able to go to the phone tab and adjust your call handling and voicemail options and more. Now, I do want to open up the desktop app and I do want to talk about your profile on the top left. Now, in the desktop app as well as the mobile app, you'll be able to adjust your status and availability. Currently, my user is available, indicated by the green check mark. You'll also see do not disturb or invisible. Now, if you put yourself on do not disturb, you'll see a red bar appear across the top of your application. It will put all of your applications on do not disturb, which means you will not receive any phone calls. Your calls will go to voicemail. So if you're going into a meeting, you may want to put yourself on do not disturb. You'll still get alerts for missed calls and voicemails, but your devices will not ring. You can click here to turn that off or go back to your profile and adjust it here. You can also mark yourself as invisible. Yes, go ahead.
Do these statuses translate to your team status if you're using the integrated app?
So that's a great question. So if you are using the integrated app, the desktop, or the mobile, and you adjust your status here, depending on how it is set up in Teams, your administrators have the option to sync your RingCentral status with your team status. So if I come up here and adjust my team status, if that is enabled, it will adjust your RingCentral status. If it is not, it will only adjust your integration. So for example, if I want to put myself on do not disturb, or if I put myself on do not disturb in my app, let me go ahead and go back to the RingCentral application. And I'm going to put myself on do not disturb. Now, since I'm on do not disturb, on my mobile app and my desktop app, I will not be able to receive phone calls. You'll also see on my Teams application that it has put my RingCentral integration on do not disturb. However, for my example here, I do not have it enabled to where it is talking to Teams. So you can see my Teams is still showing me available. So if I want to adjust my team status, I can put myself on whatever I want. Now, do I have an administrator on the line that would be able to tell me if you have turned that on to where it is going to mirror that, or if that is something you are planning on doing?
I think at this point, these are just items that we're learning about, and
Gotcha.
we probably need to have a discussion internally about what we want to do with that.
I can tell you that most oftentimes it is mirrored. So if you put your Teams on do not disturb, you want it to put your desktop app and so forth on do not disturb. So it's up to you if you want it to do that. Because right now, if I put my Teams app on do not disturb, it's not going to touch my RingCentral app. I'll still get phone calls unless you turn that on to where it does read each other. There you go. Great questions. Alrighty then. Now that is going to bring me to your desktop phone. Now the desktop phone that I have listed that you all will be using is the Yealink T46U, pictured here on your screen. The Yealink T46U is a user-friendly device with a large heads-up display. You'll see line keys to the left and right of your heads-up display. You'll see soft keys that will change depending on where you are in your call flow. You'll see some familiar items as well, like hold, transfer, speaker, and more. Now, I did share a link in the chat that says desk phones, where you can click to access a quick guide and details on the desk phone. You'll also be able to access that quick guide on RingCentral University. And when I talk about additional resources, I will show you how to access those. Now, a few features to mention. You can set up and check your voicemail from your desktop phone as well by clicking on the envelope icon. Now, when checking your voicemail from your desktop phone, you will be asked to enter in a PIN. That PIN will be provided to you as a temporary PIN, or you will set that up when you set up your extension, and that will be determined on how that goes in the future. But you will need that PIN to check your voicemail from your desktop phone. You'll have quick access to your call history. You can scroll and select using your navigation in the center as well from your heads-up display. Now you can place and answer calls by picking up the handset, pressing the headset if you're using a headset, or speaker. You do not have to dial a 1 or a 9 to place an outbound call on your desk phone either. Active call controls on your soft keys will change depending on where you are in your call flow. So for example, while on an active call, you can transfer your call, place it on hold, and more. You'll have those 3 transfer options. You'll have the warm transfer, blind transfer, and transfer to voicemail. I am going to display and briefly talk through these steps. However, I'm not expecting you to remember everything I say today. That's why I'm going to show you how to get that quick guide that will walk you through utilizing the desk phone. To initiate a warm transfer while on that active call, you'll press transfer. Dial the extension or number that you want to call, press transfer, and then you'll be able to speak to that person and actually confirm they want to take the call. To do a blind transfer, you'll press the transfer button, dial the extension, and then simply just press transfer. If you want to transfer to voicemail, there is an extra step after pressing transfer. You'll dial *0 plus the extension you want to transfer to their voicemail to. Conferencing is also available on your desktop phone. You can press conference while on an active call. Your original caller will be placed on hold. You can dial the extension or number you wish to add to the call. You can press conference to merge that call. With your desktop phone, you can have up to 3 people on the line, including yourself. Any questions about your desktop phone? I do want to dive in a little bit deeper about managing your extension settings. In the RingCentral desktop application, you can go to the gear icon and then the phone tab to access your extension settings. You can also go into Teams and go to the gear icon in the top right-hand corner and access your settings on that phone tab. Once you access your settings, under call rules and voicemail is where you can manage your forwarding options, your call handling options, and where your missed calls go. You'll also be able to manage your blocked numbers here if you block someone. And if you scroll down a little further, you'll have that direct access to voicemails. Now, I do want to bring up the RingCentral application, and I'll walk you through. So once I go to settings in the bottom left-hand corner, I can go to the phone tab. Now on the phone tab, you will see call rules and voicemail, block numbers. This will look the same in Teams. Now you'll also see in your main menu that you can adjust your notification options, audio options, calendar and contact connections, and more. We're going to click on call rules and voicemail and dive in a little bit deeper. Now on the call rules and voicemail tab, you can manage your call forwarding options. Once I open up call forwarding, there will be a text-to-speech placeholder here with your name. You can click into this to record a new voicemail greeting by changing it from default to custom. So perhaps I want to record a new greeting here, letting everybody know that I'm going on holiday, or maybe I'm just going out to lunch today with Brandon. Once you've decided if you're going out to lunch or you're going on holiday, you can set a schedule. So let's say I'm leaving today and coming back on Friday. You can set the schedule, and this forwarded option will be enabled during that time. Perhaps I do not want it to go to a voicemail. I want to send it to someone else. I can forward it to an internal or external number. Any questions about call forwarding? All right, I'm going to come back and I'll come down to my work days. Now, my workday gives you the ability to adjust your schedule of availability. Now, remember, any changes you make here will be mirrored in your Teams application for RingCentral as well as your mobile app. So I'm currently set to be available Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 and 6 p.m. If I were to get a call outside of those hours, my calls would go to voicemail. You can remain available 24 hours a day if you want, or you can adjust your schedule here. If you are available during the day and not at night, or whatever the case may be, you can also create an after hours rule as far as a new voicemail greeting here, letting everybody know that you're off and they can leave you a message and you'll call them back tomorrow. You can click on those options like work hours or after hours to adjust what happens in the schedule. Under Ring settings, by default, it's going to be set to where your desktop phone, your mobile app, and everything ring at the same time. And whenever you pick up one, that's which one you answer it on. If you want to add a number or coworker to your call flow, you can do that here. If you want to change it from ring altogether, you can click on ring altogether and change it to ring in order as well. You can rearrange the order. So perhaps I wanted to ring my desktop and mobile app, which also includes your integration with Teams. It's going to ring 6 times, which is approximately 30 seconds. You can adjust this accordingly. It's then going to ring my desk phone or any other numbers that I have. And if no one answers, it's going to go to voicemail, where again, on day one, everyone will have a text-to-speech voicemail greeting with their name. You can click in your voicemail greeting here to change it if you would like, or you can do it under voicemail settings. Does anyone have any questions about your schedule or your call handling? I'm going to go back and I'm going to scroll down. And here again, you'll see voicemail settings where you can adjust your voicemail greeting. You can also adjust your voicemail pin here. And this is the pin that's used to check your voicemail from your physical desktop phone. If I scroll down a little bit further, you will see general settings. Now, under general settings, you'll see emergency response locations. Periodically, you'll get a banner that appears across your desktop application with RingCentral and your Teams integration. It will say, please confirm your emergency response address. Once you click on it, it will take you here to manage that address. This is the address that's sent to first responders if a 911 call is placed. RingCentral is not tracking your computer. We're not following you around, so you will be prompted again to update this address. When you click on Manage, you'll be able to perhaps select a corporate office or location. But if you're working from home or your favorite coffee shop this week, you can also add your own address. If you add your own address, that's only visible to you and first responders if a 911 call is placed. Once you confirm your location, that pop-up will go away and you can just move on. Any questions? Before I open it up to our full Q&A, I do want to cover additional resources. Now, you can always go to university.ringcentral.com to access trainings and more. If you go to support.ringcentral.com, you'll be able to access processes, steps. I'm going to go ahead and bring up RingCentral University. If you select users, you can get user training on making calls, faxing, texting using the mobile app. But you can also come up to the top right and search. So maybe I'm looking for a T46U user guide. There's a user guide on that physical desktop phone. If you go to support, you can ask questions. Although I'm sure when you get access, you're still going to remember every little thing I said today in great detail. But just in case you didn't, you can always type in questions. Like, let's say you want to know more about voicemail. You can type in voicemail. Select the article, setting up your voicemail greeting perhaps. You can select the mobile app if you want to do it from there, the desktop app, and it'll walk you through it and show you pictures. Now, not only do you have access to University and support, but in the actual RingCentral application, if you go down to the help icon in the bottom left-hand corner of your RingCentral desktop app, you'll be able to ask questions here as well or get how-to videos. So let's say you want to know more about calling, making a call forwarding, transferring. There are videos available to you, but if you do not have time to watch that video, I completely understand. You can click Learn More, and it'll take you to our support site and walk you through it. All of these links have been shared in the chat. Please do take a moment to copy those. I do now want to open it up and see if anyone has any questions.
In regards to the mobile app portion, if it's set up in Teams, will it integrate? If you already have Teams mobile app on your phone, will RingCentral ring your phone through that, or do you have to have the RingCentral app on your mobile device?
So if you have the integration with Teams, it will automatically, you'll see the RingCentral logo in your mobile app for Teams, and you should be able to use it there. If you download the mobile app, it's going to ring twice, so you probably want to use one or the other.
Thank you.
Yeah. Same thing on your desktop computer. So if you download the RingCentral desktop application and you install Teams, you're going to get two pop-ups. So use whichever one works best for you. I would not recommend leaving them all open because they're all going to ring. So if you like the desktop app, use that. If you like the integration with Teams, use that. If you like the mobile app, and so forth. We give you these options so that you can utilize what you want that works best for you. Any other questions? If there's anything I showed you that you would like to see again, please let me know. I would be happy to show you. And again, this session is being recorded for your reference. So if you do not have access to any of these applications yet, no worries. Once you get access, you will have access to all these additional resources.
We had access when I got the initial email. Did they turn it off to do some other things?
Do I have an administrator on the line that would be able to answer that question?
That's correct. We'll let you know when it'll be available again.
Okay, thank you.
So just to clarify, if they had access before, they may not have access now. Is that correct, Robert?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, while you all think of additional questions, I do want to share one more link in the chat. Now, this link is particularly important to me because it is to a survey. And this is RingCentral's internal survey. So I would truly appreciate it if each one of you would take a moment to complete this for me. There are only 2 questions. The first question in the survey is about the training and the content provided to you today. The second question is my favorite question because it's all about me and how I did for you today. You all most definitely earned a 10 from me, giving me your time and attention and all of those great questions. So hopefully I earned a 10 from you with my demonstrations. There's also a comment section. You can let them know just how captivated I kept you today and click submit. I'm also going to be sending a follow-up email that will include additional resources, and that email should be arriving any moment. And I do want to open it up again and see if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I've got a question on the do not disturb. Is there a ring through option for your favorites or to override the do not disturb?
Not at this time. Right now, if you put yourself on do not disturb, it's going to stop all of your calls.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Well, I do want to thank you all for joining me today and welcome you again to RingCentral. I am going to go ahead and stop the recording.